You want to increase muscle fullness, reduce bloating, including in the face, increase APT production, increase recovery, protein synthesis, and overall improve your sleep, then this video is for you, because with the help of electrolytes, provided that you follow the exact protocol that I'm going to lay out for you, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to use electrolytes to your advantage to get these results. But what are electrolytes and how do they actually work? Well, there are three main big ones. The first one being sodium or salt, second one being potassium, also found in bananas, and the third one is magnesium. What sodium does is it pulls water outside of the muscle and helps nerves fire, among other things. Potassium does the opposite. It pulls water inside of your muscle, meaning there's a fullness. There's a certain ratio between these two that is going to help you optimize for muscle fullness as well as avoid bloating. Potassium also helps with your heart rhythm and helping you to avoid cramps, among other things. Magnesium helps with ATP, energy production, as well as deep sleep and protein synthesis, among a couple other things that I won't discuss right this moment. And now I'll just briefly mention water because that is not going to be the main focus of the video, but you want to hit a reasonable amount of water, about 4 liters per day. You can look it up and see what's right for you because it is dependent on your weight, your height, your age, all of that, your activity level. But water is very important. Make sure you're hitting your water, but in this video I'm just going to talk about the overall electrolytes. And before I get into this ratio between potassium and sodium that a lot of people get wrong, including supplement companies like Gatorade and Prime, I'm going to tell you about the recommended amounts for each. For sodium, you should have about 2.5 to roughly 4.5 milligrams, or sorry, 1,000 milligrams per day. Potassium should be about 4 to 6.5 thousand milligrams per day. And magnesium, you should have about 400 to 600 milligrams. But the one most important ratio that you need to know is that your sodium to potassium ratio should be 1 to 2. This is actually more important than the amount of sodium and the amount of potassium that you consume. This ratio is what's most important, what you should be focused on the most. So before I tell you on how you're actually going to achieve this ratio, what does this mean? Why do you need to get this ratio? Well, the salt helps pull the water outside of the muscle, making you look a bit more bloated, while the potassium pulls the water inside the muscle so that it looks more full. So this is something that a lot of people don't hit. You're supposed to hit this 1 to 2 ratio, but for many people, most people in fact, it's 2 to 1. They have way more sodium than they have potassium. That's because it's hard to get, especially if you aren't tracking it. So here's how you track potassium, sodium, and magnesium. Personally, I would recommend using something like My Net Diary. I know I said before, I guess in the comments, that you can't track micronutrients, but as I looked into this, I looked into the app a little bit more and I found out that you actually can. So download something called My Net Diary, or really any calorie tracking device that you want to pay for or that is free and easy to use, where you can track micronutrients. And once you've done this, you can track all of your food. You can see how many micronutrients you have of all this stuff: magnesium, sodium, and potassium. I will say sodium is very easy to hit. Of course, you can just add salt to stuff, but things like potassium and magnesium are a lot harder to hit. Really, you're not going to hit your daily potassium, or you're not going to hit your daily magnesium goal unless you supplement. So I've linked something down in the description. You can go check that out on how to hit all of these micronutrients for free. And for potassium, it's harder to hit, but you can always supplement with something called No Salt, I believe. I'll also link that down in the description. So yeah, go check those out. They're fairly cheap, and I won't get into too much detail, but please just use the products that I've recommended, because there are other ones that are perhaps cheaper, or I don't know, perhaps marketed better, but a lot of these, like, potassium can come in different forms. Sodium can come in different forms. But these forms are the most pure, and they give the most amount of potassium, sodium, and magnesium to your system. So go have a look at that, and yeah, track your sodium, track your electrolytes in general, because they do matter. Before you leave, ask yourself one question: did you learn something from this video? Because if the answer is yes, then hit that subscribe button, because learning things is great. It's great for you, and I'm going to provide knowledge every single day at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and you don't want to miss it. I'll see you in the next one.